Okay, let's talk about this bestie that walked away. 2023, the beginning, the person that all of this is about was still living in Kentucky and hadn't made their move to Louisiana yet. They had another creator in the box with them on live on a regular basis, daily, nightly. There wasn't a time that you weren't scrolling on the app that this person wasn't live. Now, these two would get up there and they would talk about all kinds of things. Okay. Uh, Spell work, their their education, knowledge on, different types of practices. And they hung out all the time. Not only did they talk about those things, but they also like to get on and speak on other creators and pick them apart. They sure did. Now, they didn't pick apart everybody that they spoke about, but they did pick apart a lot of different creators, right? And at this time, somewhere around March, April, the buzz was out that there was another creator going to make a book called The Witch Talkers Grimoire. They had asked for submissions for multiple witches off of Witch Talk, and they would pick and choose who they wanted to be in the book. And, the qualifications were they had to like you, right? So, there was a lot of talk about that for a while. And there was a lot of, wondering what was going to be in the book. The person that created the book posted a picture of the cover of the grimoire, which was called The Witch Talkers Grimoire. And they'd misspelled it. And so this person decided they were going to go after him for it. Silly high school stuff, right? You didn't spell that right. How smart are you? Right? That type of thing. And so eventually that was corrected and the book was published. It was published in a rush. It was published in July of 2023. And a lot of people went and bought the book. I bought the book. Several people bought the book. We were excited to see something really cool happen, right? So we get the book and people are going through it. And these two are going through it with a fine tooth comb. I mean, even plagiarizing software. Found that there was multiple submissions that were ripped straight out of somebody else's book or website. Right? Right. So then it was on. It was on like Donkey Kong. They were going to go after this creator to get this book taken off the shelves. So this is where some other ladies became involved. Some that, knew their shit, right? When it comes to different paths in the witchcraft practice. So you had the Irish witch up there. You had the Santa Muerte devotee. You had the Italian strega. You had multiple people. You had the other bestie up there. Because there was submissions and a lot of submissions by someone that no one had ever heard from. No one. And there was speculation on that person, on who they were, right? Trying to find out information. Now, the other bestie, they were like, I'm reaching out to that person. I'm going to find out who they are, what's all about. And it was a big old commotion. Okay. If you remember it, great. If you don't, well, good. That's great. You don't need to worry about it. Not really that big of a deal. It was a whole calamity, right? Well, the book gets taken down. Then you have these group of ladies who had all been in these lives talking constantly about this book and this creator and what they had done and the BS behind all of this book creation. They were all sitting there in lives talking every day. I even got into the box and talked about it. And it was like, I feel so stupid for buying this book, you know? And I was told, you know, you're not stupid. Uh, Everybody, you know, wants more education, right? So, I started to look into the book on Amazon and what could be done. And I contacted someone in Washington State that worked for Amazon, especially in their author book department, right? I told them what was going on. I told them what we knew and that they may want to check into that book because it was about probably 90% plagiarized. Okay. So, anyways, that's all said and done. And there is talk about uh, trying to fix the problem because the creator of the book stated they were going to donate proceeds to some charities. And everybody was asking for proof of the sales. Did you donate to these charities? Well, some of these women set to work real quick to find out about these charities. Come to find out, some of them you couldn't even donate to if you wanted to. They had no source online for you to donate. But they were trying to figure out a way to gather up funds in order to actually donate to what charities they could donate in lieu of this person, because this person hadn't donated or shown, I should say, didn't show proof that they donated to any charities from the sales of this book. Vacations were had. That's for sure. So there's a conversation that's had, and I find out about this conversation. I'm listening to this woman on live talk about how she only was in lives with them in order to get this book taken down. They were not friends. None of them were friends, except for the one person. And that is where it got real slick, real tricky. Because the story I was told by her was that they wanted to make her in charge of the funds or put someone else in charge of the funds, which was the bestie. And this woman was like, I don't want nothing to do with that. I don't want anything to do with the money. Hands off. I don't want it. I don't want it. And she said, you know, they begged her to do it. And she was like, I'm not going to do it. I already sit on a charity out in California. I want nothing to do with this. The other person says, well, you know, I can do it. And she was like, I don't trust that either. So here's where we're going to part ways. You live your life. I go live mine. We did what we set out to do. And that's all that needs to be said. Right? So everybody parts ways. That's the story I was told. I was told that she walked away from everyone because they were trying to push a narrative to collect money and funds to donate to these charities. And I thought, okay, well, I could understand that. I could see why you would not want to be a part of that, right? You don't want to be responsible for the funds. I can get that. Not everybody is cut out to do that type of thing. But there was something that was a little bit off about it, right? Why? Why wouldn't you want to be a part of something for a charity to donate? Why wouldn't you?